good thing you realize now instead of at the end.
Yeah, literally. Can uh,
Yeah.
can can someone speak right now? Just to test it?
No.
All
Oh,
right, dope,
bro.
dope, dope. Okay,
Hello.
that's good. Chris, let's get you up here, dude. Chris got to come up. Yo. Oh my God, Brian is here. What's up, yo? Good seeing you, man. Uh, okay. So let's just get this started. So real quick, um, if you guys are wondering what this is, if you guys don't know like what's going on here, what this call is, this is basically like a live Lifemaxxing call. So if you don't know what that is, I host this like private community where we talk about whatever it is we want to talk about, whether that's spirituality, whether that's psychology, whether that's self-development, mindset, business. Um, and we do this once a week. We come in here, we talk about like anything that's going on, anything that's top of mind, any questions that we have. We get to discuss these questions and gain insight from each other. And it's really dope because I feel like everybody who joins has their own wisdom like inside of themselves. And we get to bring that out of each other by asking these questions and having this group discussion and conversation. And so today, essentially what this is I decided, yo, you know what? Like some people like might want to tune in and listen to this, you know? And so I figured it'd be really nice to just like once a month or something, like maybe we just do some sort of live call where you guys get to listen in and see what kind of conversations are happening because some of these conversations like actually be blowing my mind. I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why are people not hearing this, you know? But for today, this one is a very, very, very special call because today we are doing this with my lovely, lovely friend, Ko. Say what's up.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to meet you all. And thank you, Richie, for inviting me up here today.
I'm very, very glad to have you. So, real quick, my little introduction of Ko. So, we've been friends for like a while. We've been doing content creation like kind of together-ish for almost like 3, 4 years now. Just kind of like
I think
going
it's four
alongside.
going on five. That's what I thought it was.
It is four going on
Because
five. Yeah.
well, technically we started the same time, but we didn't know each other until like so. I guess yeah, 3, 4 years.
Yeah, but then we connected and we found that we had a lot of like similar interests and we both found that we're pretty aligned kind of spiritually. And so I wanted to bring him in to meet my group for the first time, which is the people like my own exclusive community. Because he's fucking dope and I think this community's fucking dope. I think everyone here is like so cool and you know, I just want to see that dynamic happen. And so I mentioned this to you already, Ko, but this is ultimately kind of like a free flowing conversation where anyone gets to talk about anything. Anyone that oh yeah, and anyone who is on stage right now has the ability to intervene at any time, bring up any questions. If you are on stage, like obviously you know you have priority and all that. Um, and yeah, there's going to be no real main topics in mind. But before we get into that, I do want to introduce Ko and get him to or get the community to know him a bit more. So, uh, yeah, do you want to get started with that?
Yeah, yeah. Hit me.
Dope. So, real quick to the people who don't know you, I like to ask, how would you describe what you do? You know, your content, your
Mhm.
journey, what your goals are, or just anything in particular that's just been on your mind recently that would describe what you're up to.
All right. I've been a TikToker primarily for about I think yeah, it'd be 4 years now. Retired just last year to start pursuing YouTube, and on YouTube on TikTok I got to 1.4 million after retiring. It's gone down 100,000, but on YouTube I'm at 187,000 subscribers. Um, the videos I make, they're hard to describe, but when I read the titles, it can give you something of an idea.
Yeah, please,
The most
please read
recent one
some
I
titles.
uploaded, how many microplastics can I eat in 24 hours? I watched all of Talk Tua in one sitting. I let AI control my life for 24 hours. I went nocturnal for 7 days, gambling, drinking, and smoking the first day I legally can. I only ate potatoes for a week straight. I replaced my screen time with isolation, trying to win against an all-you-can-eat restaurant by not eating for 2 days. I folded 1,000 paper cranes for revenge. Those
I
are
watched that
those are my
one.
videos. Oh, you
Wait,
saw
you
that one.
wait, you
That
saw
that
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 one?
one had
I
me
Oh
watched it.
screaming.
shit!
I loved it. I love that one. That last one. I thought it was
Thank
so
you.
funny.
That was my first video, actually. In fact,
I'm so
my
glad I've
first
seen
ever video.
it. It was a good one,
Thank you.
I think.
Thank you. I was proud of it for it being my first video, and it did well, which was incredibly validating for me. Um, the next part was my journey, my goals. Um, my my pride and joy comes in storytelling. I love stories. I think they're impactful. I think they're powerful. I think a great story can change the shape of the world. Um, and so my journey up till this point has been honing that as a craft, and also in the future, hopefully, um, making more and more impactful stories,
Mm,
either in film or through music or whatever. I don't think there is any medium that is beneath me. Um, and I guess there is no end all be all. There's no end to the story. But as of right now, the goal is maybe to win a Streamy Award someday,
mm.
and then after that, uh, an EGOT maybe. I don't know. But
Wow.
moon's the limit.
Moon is the limit, man. Sky's the limit. Stars the limit.
Mhm.
Fucking Andromeda Galaxy's the limit.
There
I
is no
think
limit.
there's no limit. What the fuck is a limit? You know, one thing that I think is super interesting that you told me over call, which I had previously explained to the community too, that I thought was really interesting. You described your content almost as like a there was a way that you described it. The way how I described my content was like tricking people into consciousness. We were on like a
Offending
FaceTime.
the audience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could
offending
you
the
could you tell me a
audience
bit more about
is what I
that?
call.
Because that's so like
So
interesting.
offending the audience, I think all art is inherently meant to offend. If you think about it, the point of art is not to offend as in like to trigger, but I mean to offend as in to take a preconceived notion that you believe about the world, that you believe about life. Um, and the point of consuming art is to have those beliefs challenged, either in small or large ways, to have those beliefs challenged or to have them compromised in one way or another. And so
Mm,
the point of my content is with these very clickbaity spectacle um, titles, thumbnails, like for example, let's say like I doom scrolled Amazon for 10 hours. I slept on the floor for 7 days to prove a point. Those are things that you would click on, and so you get what you would expect for the first half of the video or for the first three-fourths of the video, where I'm going through the experience, and I have a petty sort of uh maybe apathetic, maybe a
mm,
combination of a couple things, a kind of attitude that is just what would be expected. But at the end of the video, this is why I believe like this is when the video turns less into a YouTube video and more into a story. um at the end of the video, I like to give in a little bit of what I believe the experience should teach somebody genuinely, or what the truth of this situation is. Like for example, like if we're talking about sleeping on the floor for 7 days to
mm,
prove a point, that's incredibly petty, and you are harming yourself in the
mm.
way of your ego. And so at the end of the video, I had my friend deliver a little monologue, and I hope the lasting note that's left at the end of the video is that these kinds of actions are costing you your peace and your stillness.
Wow,
Um,
that is
insecurity
so
and
crazy.
ego and these things are, so that's just one example of like the kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so like we're talking about microplastics, but at the end of the day, it's a funny joke, but also plastic pollution is a real thing, global warming is a real
Hmm.
thing. These are things that are happening to us, and we can laugh at them, and it's like
Hmm.
it is spreading awareness. But at the end of the day, we should know that like behind every single one of those memes and behind every single one of those jokes, there's something of a soul in them, and there's
Hmm.
something of a problem that wants to be heard and wants to be seen.
I think there's two things that kind of come to mind as you say that. First off, I really really want to say like also publicly just how much I actually fuck with your content so heavy. We were talking about this on call about how I feel like there's not enough people who are able to address these more serious topics, these spiritual topics, or like yeah, these topics that anybody goes through, like whether that is like being able to protect your peace or that kind of like pettiness that you talked about, but almost trick people like into seeing it because there's a lot of people who almost need to see that, but they don't know that they need to see that. And so the fact that you've taken
Mhm.
it like upon yourself to do that and find people in like to help people find their way to it because there was a way that when we were on call you described it was like you said if someone had made that video for me then that would have changed my life, so now you're doing that
Yeah,
for other people because there's other people that are just like you who don't know that they need that, so that's really dope.
and it's bridging the gap because if you're
Hmm.
on YouTube and you're already in the mind of self development, then like good on you because there are a plethora of videos that are just saying like, oh, here's a YouTube video on how I fucked my life, and here's me bestowing that wisdom upon you. But there are people who aren't actively seeking that, and instead are maybe watching like I don't know some petty spectacle like I folded
Mm.
1,000 paper cranes for
Right.
revenge, and are not expecting anything else to come out of that. But and that's not to say that they should absolutely take my word. They can leave it, but um, at the very least, I hope that everybody at least considers it because
Hmm.
I don't know everything, right? It's like Bo Burnham said, like no one wants to hear some 21-year-old preach about like I don't know, like tell people this is how the world works, this is the only way. But I know everything in that I know nothing, and I can share what I want to share, and
Hmm.
people depending on their experiences can take it. They could also leave it, and if it helps them, then that's the ideal case.
Yeah. The second thing that I thought was interesting was how even though that it is like humorous, that it does point towards this problem that needs to be addressed. And I've actually been seeing a reflection of that on my For You page recently, where I've been getting like philosophical or like political debates, but they're happening in the form of like AI Family Guy characters. Have you been seeing like anarchist or like communist like Peter like on your like reels? Because
I've
what
Oh
the
my
fuck is
I've
God,
that?
seen
yes.
Dude,
I've seen two videos of communist Peter Griffin. Yeah.
so like funny.
I haven't seen that at all.
Dude, I've been
Maybe
getting
I'm
like
just not online enough. Or maybe I'm just on Twitter too much over
it's
everything else.
it's so funny because it's like it's able to talk about um these topics, but actually I kind of got this idea from another one of those pages. It was called like Historical Peter, where it was Peter Griffin explaining that even the ancient philosophers discussed these topics with a lot of humor because it does kind of bridge that gap where you can talk about these serious topics in a way that reaches the masses. So I do want to say like thank you, for finding that within yourself to be able to make that. That's fucking dope. I really hope you keep
Thank you.
going. I know you're going to keep going. But I also did want to ask, um, as a second question, is there any significant event that led you to become who you are today and make the choices that have led you up to where you are now?
I grew up in a broken household. That I'll start there. Like I guess a lot of people nowadays, unfortunately, um, I did not receive a lot of unconditional love from my
Mm,
mother, who was my primary caregiver because my divorced parents, my father moved to China, um, and it was a very incredibly abusive um, childhood. You know, like I'm sure a lot of you guys and Richie understands having Asian parents. You know, it's
Mm,
not always fully understood that pulling out a slipper or a rice paddle isn't always the answer. Um, but what that led to was me having sort of this need to heal the inner child. But instead of actually healing it, what I ended up doing was I thought, okay, I'm not receiving love from my parents. Whether I was consciously doing this or not, um, I, I I went outwards. I found an audience. I posted things on TikTok just to hope that anybody would listen. Um, which was something that temporarily filled the hole because the thing is no amount of fame or money, and I'm kind of
mm,
coming to understand this more and more, but no number is going to be the thing that brings me joy, right? And so
mm,
deflecting and going off and finding people to listen to me was not what I needed. What I needed was to actually look inward, see why do I feel this way, give it attention, and give these feelings the justice that they deserve instead of shoving them off. Or like sometimes it's hard to even shove them off because you don't even know that these feelings are there. But I feel like everybody has an inner child, even if you had excellent parents. Like there are things within you that you learn from childhood that seem impossible to almost unlearn because we don't even know what's causing it. Um,
mm.
and it takes a lot of meditation. It takes a lot of looking within, and it takes a lot of intention. Um, but that's one of the major events that led me to content creation. And as I fell in love with like the feeling of being seen, or as the vanity of that started going away, as it started becoming less and less, I realized that I had a big moment where I was questioning if this was right for me, if I like should be doing this, if I should be making videos and posting things online. And
Mm.
I don't know if anybody in the audience was a follower of me. I go on like 6 month hiatuses on TikTok. I've been historically known for doing that. It was during these times when I was confused when I didn't know what wanted to do, but I found a safe harbor in telling stories after that,
Mm.
and that's been fulfilling. That's been making me feel like I'm in a good place since then.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know like actually all of that about like the household and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
thank you for sharing and
I
like
could have sworn
because
I've brought that up to you
that
sometime.
that might have been like a long time ago.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And I think one thing that's cool to me is like the fact that you are able to take that and transmute that into a more positive energy and create something from that. Because like that is something that there's a lot of ways that like I think everybody here equivalently like deals with some sort of suffering, you know, and like not to say that we're all on the same level of suffering, but there is some sort of like pain that everyone goes through, and to see somebody to be able to take that and be able to transmute that into art and transmute that into creating for yourself, like that's really dope, and that's strong and honestly like inspires me, you know,
Thank
to
you. Thank you.
to
And
know
I
that.
see a lot of people in the chat saying like they're talking right now about like a lot of their I guess broken households and abusive parents. It's a very tough cycle. It's a very vicious cycle, and it really depends on the situation. It's very particular to the person, depending on what your parents are like. But at the end of the day, for me, the thing that helped the most was there was a chronic acceptance I had to find first that unfortunately my mom was not going to change. And there wasn't a way, no matter how long I tried, to force her to do something like that. So there's a chronic acceptance of that, but then also this arguably more important is forgiving her
Mm,
because holding hate in your heart for that is costing you your peace. And it's not to forgive them for their sake, it's to forgive them for your own sake. You don't have to
for your
tell
own
them.
sake, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's just for the sake of healing yourself and not having to hold on to that hate, because hate is a breeder of worry and grievances.
Mm,
Um, and it can be very hard too. But it, I can say it's a very tough battle holding on to hate from like a primary towards like one of your primary caregivers and still trying to look at the world in a positive light.
mm.
It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, that's a very fucking difficult thing. I think there's something that you mentioned, just on the other point that you made, that after you discovered fame and being seen, that you realize that that doesn't fill the hole, you know?
Oh
Which,
God.
which is like, and like growing up, like that's something that you think that could totally fill the hole, like looking at external stuff.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I think people don't like it just because people consistently move goalposts too, like as they achieve something, they only look for greater and greater and greater. They never they're never able to reflect or escape that path, and they keep thinking that there's an answer in that external. And so
Hmm.
I was going to ask, but it seems like you did answer, like how do you shift and transmute that? But I
Well,
guess if
there's
yeah.
this book that I just finished reading called
Yeah, I,
Stillness is the
I
Key.
actually I actually do wanna, but before we get into that, there was a question that I had written that was related to that.
Okay.
Which, by the way,
Yeah, yeah.
at this point in time, Life Maxers, I feel like you guys have a good amount of like a good amount of like knowledge on Ko and who he is, what he might represent. And this is the last formal question that I'm going to ask him. And then from here, I'd like to move into like free flowing talking points. If anyone wants to jump in, share what they're going through, if anyone wants to ask him questions, gain some insight from each other, feel free. But this is the last question. Uh, I'd like for you to tell us about what you're doing now to further that journey of protecting your peace and
Hmm.
transmuting that. And what are some things that you might have recently learned, or what are some practices that you're doing today?
Yeah. So I'll bring this this book that I just finished reading.
Yeah, that is the main fucking thing that I wanted to share with people because
Stillness is
like
this is. Mhm. I'd have to say
I'm gonna
this
shut up
is
and let
like.
you do your thing.
Oh no, no, no. Did you have another point to make?
Oh no, it wasn't a point, but it was just like now that I'm over with like the fucking formal questions, right? I just want to say, dude, like
Okay.
you actually telling me about this and you telling me about the fact that this is the journey that you're
Mhm.
on and being able to share that with me, I'm so for real. Thank you. That is so fucking dope. Cause
I'm grateful for you every day, man.
dude, because like and like I'm sure you know this, but like being on that like self-development or spiritual journey can be hard and can feel extremely fucking lonely, and
Mhm.
so to hear that, because like I don't have like other content creator friends who are within that space, I have like
Mhm.
friends that like I talk to, and then I have spiritual people that I talk to, but not like content creator friends that are within that spiritual niche, that like when you reached out to me, it made me not feel as alone with that. So if you want to get into
Mhm.
that, then go for it.
Yeah. Um, this book is probably in top three most impactful books I've read in my life. Um, and so it discusses all sorts of things on the body, mind, and soul. But overall, the point of it is finding stillness within the mind, body, and soul. And they I can't sum it up because this is what the book is for. Um, but the journey that I'm on right now is sort of this. I'm zoning in a lot on this idea of stillness. This idea that joy and pleasance and going through life with enjoyment comes from this idea of stillness. And that's not to say without movement, but that is to say to create space for yourself. Um, and so, like you said before, when you brought up, actually everything we've talked about is sort of
Mm,
has sort of been covered in this book in one way or another. But when you said the thing about fame, there's one chapter in here about saying that something is enough. the word enough, saying that there is enough, because if there is never enough for any certain person, if the enormity of your desire is so large that there is always more and that you will never be satisfied, that is not to say don't make progress, but that is to say to bathe in the beauty of what you have. Um, to say enough is like is what is one of the greatest contributors to my
Mm.
joy as of late. And also the routines that I've been implementing myself. I sent Richie a picture of my calendar um, just today. I have four colors on it. One is for running, one is for meditation, one is for work, and one is for weightlifting. And I put down a little dot for every day that I do one of those things. And so it visualizes my
Hell yeah.
progress for me, and it also sets up an aspect of routine. Routine is something that they talk about in this book as something as incredibly important. Something as simple as just making your bed or brushing your teeth. It's something that can provide stillness. Um, but I think the most important thing that I'd like to talk about um, in this book, and sort of an all-encompassing thing that I think like everybody struggles with in one way or another, is this this monstrosity of a challenge of being present, right? Because every single one of us is plagued by worry,
Mm.
whether it's in the past or if it's in the future. And if you're living in the future, if you're living in the past, grievances or things to be concerned about.
You're
Um,
never here.
yeah, yeah, and more importantly,
Mm.
looking at those things in a negative light, looking at these grievances, saying, "God, I wish I didn't say that," or looking at these things in the future, like, "Oh, where am I going to be? I'm so worried about this," as opposed to looking at it with through a gracious lens. It's what that ends up doing to you is you're not living here. And the
Mm.
thing is that like I'll do a quick exercise if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Everybody look at your hands. Look
Oh,
at your
you're gonna do that
hands and
thing?
try to feel the inside of your hands. Really focus on them. Breathe deeply and slowly. Try to feel the inside of your hands. Maybe it's a little tingly.
Feeling it.
This is presence, okay? Joy is not in the
Mm.
future, joy is not in the past. Joy is here
Mm-hmm.
in this moment. You can only
I
feel
think,
joy if you
yeah.
have the space to relish in it, yeah?
I think if there's one thing I
That's
kind of want to add
Mhm.
on to that, is that like, so a lot of us do tend to live within that past or within that future. But the thing is like you you only experience now, actually.
Mhm.
So like, and that's kind of what I mean by like when I brought up that you kind of miss out on time. And that I think is such a interesting, like, I don't really know what the word is for it, but it's like a yeah, just this problem where you constantly live within the mind that produces memories of the past, or it produces predictions of the future, and you forget that the only moment that you're ever actually experiencing is now. And so to kind of tie
Mm.
that to the experience that you were just talking about, if there is one way that I would say you could start living now and live within that presence, it is to live within your body, like exactly as you were saying. When you look at your hand, when you feel the presence within your fingers, when you like, and which is a really interesting tool, is like you can move that to any part of your body. You can move that to your head, you can move that to your hands, you can move that to your feet. And when you really, really stare and feel that presence, you're in your body, and you're here now. And there is something that's really beautiful about the present moment that I kind of want to add on. And I don't know if you've felt this, and I might have kind of slipped this to you before I talk about it with my community. But within that
Yeah.
present moment, when you sit in your own mind and body, or not in your own mind and body, when you sit within your current body and you're in that present moment, you can tap into this extremely divine wisdom that lies within you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm curious to
This
know,
was
like, if, yeah, if you've like felt that or anything.
I think you can frame it as wisdom, but I like to frame it as it shows you a new perspective. And what wisdom comes from is a consideration of perspectives that you haven't considered before. and continuing to explore them and continuing to learn about them. And so that's a tool that I think private is giving. And the other thing is, this is, like you said, focusing on a part of your body and settling into your body. That is presence, and this is one of the ways to get present. But I think presence is something that, like, everybody has access to. Every athlete knows the feeling of presence when you're so zoned in on this sport, on this round, that you're able to feel present, and you're able to take in this moment, and you have focus and you have clarity, right? You can't worry about your test when the dude right in front of you is about to, like, fucking get 2 points, right? um
Mm.
and that's something that I like to think about, which is like, I guess if you guys are performers, actors, you know the feeling of presence, standing in front of a stage of 300 people.
It's not like flow
Now
state.
is what matters. Yeah, it's a flow state, and also it's where joy lingers. It's where it happens, and it's where you can accept it, and where you can feel it go into your body. If, like, if they, you guys have been high school athletes and you won a game that was really important to you, or if you've accomplished something and you were able to just be proud of yourself and to drink in that feeling, and to allow it to penetrate into yourself, because you have the space for it, because you're not thinking about the other things. um that's that's the tool of presence that I like to think about, and that's how he sort of describes it in this book. um
Mm.
but yeah, the wisdom that shows up, I'm able to see new perspectives when I'm present, because so often what happens is that, especially I think anxious people would know this feeling. There are thoughts bouncing around in your brain, and there are
Mm.
so many of them, and there's this plentiful experience of thoughts, but they're bouncing around so quickly and so vigorously that you can't
Mm.
catch any of them or bring any of them in front of you to act on. What space is giving yourself the space to have those thoughts slow down, to have them
Mm.
sort of isolated, so you can really pick one up and consider it and explore it.
You know what I think is really
But that's
interesting,
just my
if
experience.
if I could add on to that, it's like and I talk about this in my community. It's like you get to a point actually where you start intellectualizing so much. Sooner or later you got to realize you can't intellectualize your next move. Like that you just need to be in this present moment and feeling like what's right,
Mhm.
because like that serves as such like a guide. You know, some people call it like intuition. Some people call it
Absolutely. Yeah.
like that inner
Yes.
wisdom as I was talking about. Um, and I was talking with well, I wasn't talking to. I was listening to this speaker who was in this like spiritual journey for like 13 years. And he said something that I agreed with, which is like you you get to this point where you're so present, and like it's not even a matter about thinking about what is right or wrong. It's just like what is right like in that moment, and if it's right in that
Hmm.
moment, then that's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Because there's, mhm. To add on to that, if that's all right,
yeah, go for it.
the most
No, it's not
impactful
all right.
quote I think
Okay,
I've
sorry.
ever heard is Socrates, when he
Mm.
said, "I know everything and that I know nothing." Because
Hmm.
the truth of it is that a lot of us don't even know if the reality that's right in front of us is real or not. I don't want to give anyone an existential crisis right now, but
Dude, I
like,
just went through a crazy fucking one last night, bro. Well, we'll talk
there,
about that
like,
sometime.
we don't know if we're in a simulation or not. We don't know, like, what's true. We don't know what isn't true, right? And we could intellectualize until the end of time, but there are so many things that we do not know, that at this point none of us know the answer to anything almost, right? But the truth
Mm.
is the truth of life is finding your faith,
Mm.
finding something that you can believe in, and finding stillness
Right.
and joy from that. And that's why I like to believe, which is why I think, like, over intellectualizing it, again, it's like that, like, that demon of worry that I was talking about. It's like you have this one life, and you you it's such a shame to waste it away by living in a future version of yourself, or worrying about a future version of yourself. But that's that's not to say that there's shame in it, because that's okay. The best thing about present moment is that if you leave it or if you go and explore, then the present moment is always here waiting for
Mm.
you to come back, and they are always willing to give you another chance.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Fuck, there's something I wanted to add on with that. Um,
Mhm.
what can you run back the points that you were saying? We were talking about how you can't prove what's real. What did you say right before that?
Existential. I said like an existential crisis, and then you said that you had an existential
Oh
crisis.
fuck, man.
Huge one last night.
Um, I can't like pick that off the top of my mind. I don't know if we want to get too deep into this, but like I'm down if you are about
I
like.
mean, I'm down. I'm just like, I'm just like, does it? I feel like we. I don't want to talk too much. Is the only thing.
Well, I feel like Life Max is
If
like
anybody,
yeah. If anyone wants to get
oh,
into it, like
everyone,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. Joe Boy's always down to go deep. Um,
okay,
pause,
okay.
pause, 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 pause. Anyways, um, it's like so when I was talking about with this guy, it was that like there is okay, and this is a very very like hard concept to grasp. So if people don't get this, like
Mhm.
my bad, but the awareness of something and the existence of something are codependent. They both exist, like they rely on
Mhm.
each other. What is
Yeah.
awareness without the actual thing that you are placing the awareness on? And what is the thing without the awareness to place on it? And so, with that being said, your senses, everything that you are perceiving, because there's no proof that you're actually even existing within this reality or correctly perceiving
Yeah.
this reality. All you know is the
Mhm.
awareness of your perceptions of it all. And so, one of the things that I guess I could tie it back to in what you're speaking about when it comes to faith and choosing what you believe
Mhm.
in a reality that you don't actually know what is true, and like I don't even know if this is like my fucking hand, like it's just a perception of my hand. Reality could be something different than this. um
Mhm.
in a reality where there is no truth, actually I found out what it is. In a reality where there is no truth, it's a matter of, it's up to us to, exactly as you said, choose what feels right to us. And like that's
Mhm.
why it's really important that like no one discriminates each other's beliefs, because whatever we find in this reality, like is that's fucking important to us, because there is ultimately no truth.
Yeah. And
And
who
it,
am I to say that you're wrong? I'm not
yeah,
God.
and in fact, actually, one thing I did want to add on top of that is like it is this is what was on my mind. It's one of the ways to get to a state of knowing actually is by saying that you don't know. Because and I was talking
Yes.
about this with my girlfriend, where we were talking about empathy, and we were talking about how there might exist other opinions and other values. But there are some people who live within the echo chamber of themselves, that they're never able to explore other people's ideas, even if they're quote unquote wrong.
Mhm.
But my whole thing is like, if you are so sure that you are correct, then why not explore another perspective so that you can know? Because but like, if you
Yeah.
are so confident in saying that like, oh no, I know this for sure, then you're never going to find out if another perspective is wrong or right.
Mhm.
And so like it has been my duty to openly say, and I think the reason why I am where I am today is because I've been openly saying I don't know what the fuck is going on, I don't know what I'm doing. But like, the fact that I'm able to admit that has led me to being like, okay, well, what do I know, what can I figure out, like what are the boundaries, where are the
Ooh,
limits?
yes.
And like, as an
Mhm.
artist, or as just, just as like anybody, I think it's so important that, yeah, that you can just openly say that, hey, like maybe I don't know what's going on.
My frontal
Bro,
lobe just grew
can
an inch.
I touch on that real quick and like add on?
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, please,
Yes.
bro.
Bro, I literally proved myself wrong exactly, but what the fuck you just said, right? Because sometimes I notice like I'll get into like this what's the word to say? Like sometimes I'll get like and this is like more of my shadow aspect that I'm aware of. Like
Mm,
I'll get into that spiral of like, oh damn, I think I do know all about this. but then I like those nice natural points of hit to kind of bring you back down to kind of ground you. So, for example, I had a thought of like how certain thing was going to go the other day in terms of like travel and shit like that. Until I like put myself to the test, I was like, well, is it really like that, or do I just kind of like think it's like that? So I'm like, let's try that shit. I don't fucking know. So I went and tried it, and it was like the complete fucking opposite of everything I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh shit. But like it was kind of interesting though, because this is kind of touching back on what Cole and you both were saying, Richie, of the joys in the present moment. So I actually had joy laughing at myself. I was like, this is actually funny as fuck right now. Like I
Oh
really
my
thought this
god.
shit was gonna go like, yeah. I was like, bro, I really thought this shit was gonna go like this. And it went left, but like I was enjoying the fact that it went left because it's like there's boredom in going the way that I think it's already gonna go. So if
Mm,
it went the way that I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna go, that's the fun part. Because now I'm like, well, now I don't know what the fuck going on. So now I'm like, of course, the scary part with the duality, but like the true essence of the joy, like brother was saying, was like, damn, like it kind of just let me go for the ride. So I went for the ride, and then afterwards, like
yeah.
for example, the other day, because I was going to do something where I thought I already knew of how it was going to go, and then I randomly seen like this like traditional dance and shit. I was like, why is this shit happening like right now? Because in my perception, I didn't think that could happen. So I just like literally sat there and like a little kid in a fucking play in amazement, like what the fuck is going on? And everybody looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I don't care, bro. Y'all don't see this shit. I mean, it's
Bro,
probably but you know.
I
So
I
just a
kind of want
couple
to
examples.
Beautiful.
I want to add on to that real quick, just before anyone
Yeah.
touches,
Oh,
like, because I was having a conversation about this with my girlfriend when it comes to overcoming, whether it is your shadow or whether it is something that's a bit more of a serious side about yourself. One of my recent things that have helped me move on from my like parts of myself that I didn't want to see, is humor. Just being able to laugh at yourself or laugh at those situations, like, solves so fucking much. Like it really allows you to so for example, like let's say and this just to throw this out here, right? This is one of the ways how like your shadow can almost start to like manifest itself if you are afraid to look at it. Let's say like you're driving and someone like cuts you off like while you're driving, right? You might have like a subconscious primal thought of like, what the fuck, this motherfucker, I'm gonna kill this guy, right? And to someone who's afraid to look at themselves, that might be like, oh my God, why did I think that? You're like what the fuck is wrong with me? And then as you become afraid to look at that, it only grows more and more. But if you can use this like
Mhm.
this mechanism of humor, I think it's so interesting because if you take a second to look at that, it's like, wait, what the fuck did I just think, bro? Like imagine like someone cutting you off and you genuinely chasing this guy down like 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 what the fuck is that, right? And when you're able
Could
to
I add
really
on to
look at,
that?
yeah, please.
Yeah, after, or do you want to finish your?
Yeah,
Or okay,
sure.
I'll just say like, this
Yeah.
is something that we're taught in um open awareness breathing meditation, which is that
Mm,
like you said, the tool. I think the tool that it is laughing at yourself for those things is that there's less judgment. There's no judgment of the self when you are doing that. Because here's the
mm,
thing: when we think about ego, we always think of it as like this big boisterous Goliath guy, right? The thinks I'm better than everyone else. But ego has an unassuming twin, which is insecurity. Insecurity is also, in my
hold
opinion,
on hold
rooted in
on hold on
ego
hold on
because the
hold on
way
hold on
that
hold
you
on hold on
view yourself.
wait. Hold on, Cole. You spit a little too much fire right now. I'm gonna need you to run that shit back. I need you to say that shit again because what? Hold up.
Oh, you just cooked.
Ego,
I'm a,
ego, we always think of as Goliath. Ego has an unassuming evil twin that is insecurity. It's like a thief who's wearing a
Mm.
coat that they know is too big for them. And insecurity as the unassuming twin of ego is like when you are screaming at someone, this dude just cut me off, and then you say, what the fuck did I just say? And you shame yourself. You say, oh, you're fucked up for thinking that, right? Like, you would never treat someone else that way. Why are you treating yourself that way? That reflects the way that you would treat another person, and that extends to you. So if you can laugh at it, and if you can go into it with forgiveness, go into it without judgment, and just know for yourself where your faith is and what you believe in, what you think is right or wrong, then you will land where you need to be sooner than it would be if you tell yourself, "Oh fuck, why didn't you do that just now? Why did you do that just now? You're such a fucking idiot," you know?
Mm. Yeah, I do talk about this in the program, at least that last part that you had said. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if this interpretation isn't like the same thing, but it's yeah. I mean, like I guess it does all kind of relate because it's all I don't know. Living is kind of an art form. You might be like, what the fuck? What does he mean by that? But in the way that like if you're able to unafraid like without like fearlessly look at yourself and know where your boundaries are, like that's how you're able to push and make progress in life. But a lot of people are
Mhm.
afraid to see where their boundaries lie. Does that tie in with what you were saying like at that end part, or is that different?
No, that ties in, yeah.
Okay, okay. What's up, Jay?
Hey,
You
can
gonna
I
say
ask
something
that
or what?
Oh,
too, Richie?
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, and this kind of goes to that example that I gave. It's like the fear comes from that ego aspect of ourself, which has that synonymous twin, like brother was saying, of the insecurity of like the first hit of is the ego hit of like, well, I'm not wrong, and then the insecurity part comes after of like, well, what if I am? And I think that's like the biggest like bridge, that gap of like, damn, am I going to allow my fear of being wrong on what I perceive that I didn't even give my chance the full permission slip as the same voice that is being reinforced through me now of whatever I recorded from that pre-existing,
Yeah.
from nine back, or will I allow myself to immerse myself as you guys were doing so profoundly by explaining, let me fully choose to be in the self-aware moment that is now, because that's all I really genuinely have, whether it's going to go good or bad, because those are just perceptions that I think anyway. It's always for my highest good because I get something at the end of it, whether it's the actual experience of what I have of the goal or if it's a lesson. So I 1,000% agree with you guys by that. To like,
Yeah,
I
that that's the superpower, which is having confidence with an essence of humility. Because that's what we talk about. We talk about being confident in your convictions, but also having the ability to say, "Oh, I was wrong."
Hmm. I did touch on that like while we were in that like pregame like call right now in the in the thing where it was like everything works its best when you're in this kind of middle part of that spectrum when you're not swinging too far on either side of I don't know if dichotomy is the word that explains like the two different sides of a spectrum, but it's like
I would
exactly as you
describe it as a
said,
pendulum.
pendulum, right? Spectrum, where there's like two sides, where there is that like intense confidence that you can have, but also that humility, finding that balance there. Or actually, another example that I think is really important to me is like discipline, and also I don't know if even just forgiveness would even be a word, but I guess like even spontaneity is one thing that I've been really exploring because it's like on one hand, like yes, you should be like extremely fucking disciplined and go into that route of like being able to put your head down and work. But if you're always constantly doing that, spontaneity makes room for magic, you know? And then so I recorded a
Yeah.
video for my second channel. I need to post that, which is like almost being disciplined with your spontaneity. Like being spontan what the fuck, huh? Me being like
oh
I guess
yes, yes, say that shit,
I
yes.
guess one way that I want to talk about it is like so there's some artists in here. Y'all heard the term inspired action before? Have you heard that, Co?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, so it's this idea that like, you kind of like wait around almost, and like sooner or later some sort of idea will flow through you as a vessel to give you inspiration on what to do. you know? And when I first discovered that, I was like, damn, like, then what the fuck is discipline then? Like, what's the point, right? But what I found is when you're in between the balance of both of them, both inspired action and discipline, you come to this realization that's like, oh shit, I need to become disciplined with my inspired action. And what that means to me is like ritualizing almost every single part of your day to set yourself up so that you can have more inspired action.
Yo, hear me out. Hear me out.
Hearing.
That is stillness. That is stillness. There is a chapter in here where what they're saying is when they talk about this balance between spontaneity and discipline, what 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 this chapter is called, that they call it in the book, they call it being a human being. The title of
Mm,
the chapter is literally called Be a Human Being, because the thing is that we are human beings. We are not workhorses. We are not machines, right? They told the story of this king and queen who were so drowned in their work that their lives as monarchs, like, and just as people, had disintegrated. They had died early. They had not found the joy that they were seeking. And so this concept of being a human being is this balance of being disciplined with your spontaneity.
mm,
um and like, I guess, like, the other thing about, like, this is sort of like a left wing thing, but just saying being a human being is, it made me think of this.
mm.
I don't know if you've touched on this with everybody here, but have you ever heard the term meditation is preparation for death?
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. That it made me think of that. It made me just think of, like, meditation is learning to be a human being so that you are ready for death. Or
Well, mm,
we're not learning to be a human being, but, being a human being, meditation is an expediting process that can prepare you for death.
mm. I kind of envisioned meditation being preparation for death, and let me know if this is what also you mean, or if it's different.
Mhm.
But the way how I interpreted it is almost like a meditation being a way that you can get so I wouldn't say lost, but I would say you're able to see the transient nature of everything so clearly that
Mhm.
you're able to realize that all that there is to you, and this is what happens when you go deep enough in meditation, and I'm sure you've noticed this, right? But that you are just
Mhm.
consciousness residing within a body, that everything is transient. I
Mhm.
think, and I think that that kind of goes down to the one like idea of like know thyself, and like when you really know yourself,
Mhm.
you realize that you are just consciousness within a body, and that you can't imagine not being conscious, and that like this life too will pass and will be
Mhm.
transmuted and transformed into some other thing, you know.
Absolutely that. Absolutely that. I think that meditation is preparation for death means a couple things. The One of the things it means for me as well is also, like, that moment before death that we hear about, where they
Mm,
are saying, like, I have no regrets, or I am happy with what I've done. I am happy with what I am surrounded by right now, and I'm ready for it. That moment before death, I think, to reach that satisfaction and to reach that stillness and peace of self, also it comes through meditation. Not saying that's the only way to achieve it, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
mm.
That's one of the other things. I do have to go in, like, 10 minutes, if
Oh
that's all
shit,
right.
I didn't even
Sorry about this.
realize. Oh no, you're good, you're good. We can wrap this up like a bit closer.
Yeah,
um
wrap it
or
up.
just
I
let.
guess, like, I was just wondering, like, I wonder if anyone had, like, any super pressing questions. I
Yeah, I
guess
think I
before I
think
have to
that
go
that would be
in
nice.
10
I think
minutes.
if Life Maxers just want to take some lead, if they have questions for Ko, hopefully, I'm sure y'all see why I invited this guy. He's so fucking dope. And I actually also did want to invite him to just our regular like calls where we're like we just chill. Um, yeah, I thought that would be super fucking sick. But go
That'd be
for it, y'all.
dope.
I could, yeah, I could definitely show up to those, if I'm not doing anything at that time. I
Yeah, sure.
have a
You're
packed
invited.
schedule, but I could do my best to make time for it. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways.
Mara, did you have something? No? Okay. Fuck you, Mara. No, I'm kidding. 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 I'm kidding.
That was that was uncalled for.
My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, don't take this
That
time.
is
He's got 10 minutes.
fucking
He's got 10 minutes.
hilarious.
No, I was just saying that the only thing I said was that I thought that would be dope having him join the calls when he can.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it'd be nice. He's cool. I invited him just because, like, okay, fuck you, Chris. I I thought it'd be fun just because, like, because okay, so I don't know. I don't know if you mind me sharing this code, but like you just said that you felt like you wanted more of like community of people to talk to, and this is just me
Yes.
extending that invite as in like, hey, like once a week we always get in these calls, we talk about this shit, and ever since starting this and finding these people, I'm so serious, bro. Like once a week, like I get excited, man. Like I get I get sparked, you know.
I can
There's
see
shit I
that.
get to
Yeah.
share, and it's so cool because like when I have these conversations with other people, like I feel like some of them don't absorb it, you know, like they do nothing about it. But when I have these conversations with these people, it's like every single week I get to see these people's progress. I get to see this absorb in them, and I get to see like what they make out of it, and they update me back on it, and like I think it's so fucking beautiful. And like I know that there's a lot of stuff
Mhm.
that you could share. I know there's stuff that we'd want to share, but just saying like that invite is always open for you.
Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Uh, I just wanted to how worth it is how worth it is it to buy the book? If you buy the book and you read it and you digest it, I'd say it's a valuable book for anybody.
Very
So
valuable.
highly recommend. And
Hmm.
yeah, I've only really I guess I've only really heard you and Joy Boy um, talking, but I can see what you mean by it. It feels like things are being absorbed. It feels like things are being heard, and it feels like everybody that I've heard speak has an insight,
Mm.
um, and
Some
has
people
a
just
light
like
to
tune
share.
in. Yeah, some people just like tune in and just like listen. Some people like share a lot more, but like either way too, it's kind of dope because most of, if not like all of the people who are in the community like are also creatives too. So like
Mhm.
it's really been dope because I've been able to talk about creative stuff, and they're like, oh shit, like I can use that for myself, or like I can apply this to me, you know. So that's just
Mhm.
been really dope.
The life of an artist.
Life of an artist, man. It's fun because it's like there's no
Exciting.
there's no paved path at all whatsoever. Sick.
Is that an OG? Is that is that like
Is
you?
that Sonoji? Is it? Oh shit. Also, oh my God, what's up,
Oh,
dude? Also,
awesome.
yeah, I guess one final thing to extend, like if anybody Life Maxers want to ask any specific question or anything, like this would be a great time. But if not,
Um,
speak now, forever hold your
I
peace.
got one.
Hit it, Jesus.
Hmm.
I got one question. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yep. Hit me.
Oh, okay, cool. Um, I just had like one question that sort of goes in line with the topic of stillness and meditation and all of that. And that question was, how does one develop inner peace regardless of external circumstances? So
Woof.
how does one like have this constant state of like awareness and also just like peace of mind? Because I've heard that joy manifests itself when you're at peace. Whenever you're stressed out or whenever you're sad, it's because your mind is occupied with something. And once someone like develops peace of mind, that's when joy allows itself to sort of show. So how does
Mhm.
one sort of tap into that state regardless of what's going on around them, if that makes sense?
That's a loaded question. I think external peace um, manifests itself through internal peace. Is sort of
Damn.
one big thing. But then, um, also the thing is, it's not like we live in an unfortunate world, and I'm not gonna stand up here and say that like, oh, like everybody has access to it when people are in the middle of war, you know?
Mm,
Like it's the unfortunate truth. And I guess this idea of stillness, the most prominent thing that I've learned is not getting rid of all the occupancy in your mind. It's getting rid of the unnecessary occupancy in your mind. Um, because a lot of us, we indulge in things like escapism. We indulge in things like addiction. We indulge in things like worry and unnecessary grievances. There are grievances that are absolutely necessary, but there are sometimes where we hold on to something because it's protecting us from something else, right? Um, and I guess another thing, this is something that I was talking to Richie about. Living in a state where you're always susceptible to be in the face of a truth that you're not willing to face.
mm,
Because this is the thing about truth, which is that this happens a lot of times for a person when they go through tragedy, when something tragic happens to them. And this is what I've noticed. This is just what I've noticed for myself. But when I go through something that's very like when I think back to like, oh, the worst times in my life, it was my walls, the walls I put up in front of my heart to protect me, they get broken down because this tragedy is just too strong. And now my heart is raw and it's out in the open, and I have to face the world without all these defense mechanisms that I already had. And so when I'm in the face of this truth, um, what it does is I have to confront it, and it's like a massive tower, and you take out the base
mm,
block, and then everything falls down, and you have to build everything back up. And so you become like a wholly new person, but you feel more like yourself than ever before. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, but sorry, back to about external factors. With is there any particular external factor that you were thinking about? Because external factors is a very broad.
Hmm. Not really. Just I guess circumstances that one could find themselves in.
mm,
Um,
Mhm. Because a
yeah,
lot
just
of
like
them are
external
unavoidable.
circumstances, like maybe events that are happening, or I think that one had, witnessed stuff like that. Like anything that you can see with, like, your five senses, I guess would sort of, yeah.
Seeing, taking with your five senses. All I can really say is that perspective is everything. You know,
mm. I, I
see a
I
block
think.
from one side, it can be dark. See it from the other, it can be light.
Do you mind if I also kind of throw something in, and
Why
like
would
you
I
you kind of let
not?
me know. Yeah, yeah, right. Oh well, I guess because time, like I don't want to keep you here too much. Like that's kind of why, and I also want to get your insight on it.
Oh, no, 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 no. I've essentially completed my point.
Okay, cool. I think one thing I did want to throw in that I talk about is like, and I'm sure you've seen this, Jesus, right? But it's again that um feeling of, and again, not to say that external factors like don't matter, right? Because there are a lot of situations, and this is like, ah, fuck, man, I kind of want to get into this, like this call too. But first off, I think it's having this subconscious belief that you will not be okay under certain external circumstances. Now, this is not to say that like all external circumstances are safe. I mean, if you really want to get like deep into like that, like that's another thing. But um for me personally, learning to be okay internally despite an external factor, the best thing for me was actually just going within that external factor, like myself, like actually firsthand experiencing it and then coming out of it being like, okay, like I just fucking did that, you know. There's this idea that, as I was talking with that other spiritual guy, which was like, you can have you can practice your spiritual practices on the mat, but what's the point if you're not putting it out there to use? Like you're going to have to eventually live life, and you will go through a bunch of grievances and things that like suck, and then it's your time to really integrate and make that yours. you know that's
Yeah, and
my
the
own
best thing
perspective of
that I
that.
can say also is like when your body, mind, and soul are all in accordance with one another, and when there's balance, that is the best you can do going into any circumstance. You know,
Mm-hmm.
any external circumstance, like we can't predict them. We can't predict where they're going. You know, we don't know exactly when they're gonna pop up. Um, and if we knew exactly what was gonna happen, then like like what's the point? But going into life, giving your best, and sorry, hot chocolate.
You're good.
Keeping your body, mind, and soul in balance. That is the best way that we can go in to face any sort of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion. I think
You gotta go.
I can have time for one more question actually. Um, just in the
Yeah, shoot
chat,
it.
if you guys just want to
Yeah,
rapid fire,
let's.
and I'll answer one of them, and then I'll have to go.
Hell yeah. And then do you think I have
Say thank
time
you
to say
for
some?
answering the question.
Yeah, yeah. You
Thank you
you
for
can say some
asking.
parting words.
Yeah, I'll say like departing words after you answer this.
Mhm.
And I think you just go ahead and choose whatever question you want to answer, maybe.
Sure. Um, is like doom scroll. Honestly, what I do. Oh, I'll go for the first one. Um, how can I redirect my life to where I can be focused on school life, personal, and family life while feeling like I don't have a specific routine? I'm a person who doesn't really like routine, and since I'm still young, I want to know and learn the tools to improve myself in my life early. I guess my primary question would be why do you not like having routine? I guess would that it's just a question. It's like not with any judgment or anything. But I assume you have some understanding of yourself that you think that routine is something that is necessary to improve all of those things. Um, I don't like routine because I hate feeling stuck in a loop, and ultimately it makes me more depressed. I think routine. There are two ways to go about routine, where like routine can mean one thing for you, where you're doing the same thing every day, and that would be sublimely boring for anybody. That would be miserably boring for anybody. And then the other kind of routine that you can have, there's still variety and spice to every day, but there's something about routine, I think, in the simpler term, that lets you revitalize your life and sort of, I guess, have a grasp on it. Because what I found about routine is like the reason why I didn't have a routine, and like let's say like I used to have a lot of trouble like um I used to have trouble with brushing my teeth, right? And the reason why is because I would wake up and immediately I would think of the 10 things I had to do today, whether it was later in the day, whether it was in the middle of the day, whether it was just right now. 10 things I needed to do, 10 things I could do, and 20 things I had to do the next day, or 30 things I had to do in 20 years, right? And so it was hard for me to be able to sorry yeah it was hard for me to be able to take control of my life and be able to grab a thought or action and sit with it, or to take action on it when there's so many inputs and I can't decide, and I end up getting more worried, and it's costing me my joy and my stillness,
Mm,
um, because of it. And I guess it would be circumstantial, um, but I would just say that routine does not mean that you need to be stuck in a loop.
mm,
Routine can be something as simple as waking up and doing your bed. It is something that you dedicate yourself to, that you tell yourself that you will do every day, that eventually becomes like just like muscle memory that you think will propel you forward. Um, there was a whole chapter on routine here, and there was one quote that I liked in it. I don't know if I could find it right now.
Do you mind if I
Um,
share something
yeah, share
while
share
you
while
try to
I'm looking
find it,
for it.
or how's your time going? Are you gonna look for it? All right. For me,
Uh,
when it comes to discipline, it was a matter of rewiring what that meant for me. And the reason why routine felt almost like bad for me was it was rooted from this place of shame of like, oh God, I should be more disciplined. Oh God, I should like fucking wake up at this time. Oh my God, I should be more productive. But when I switched it from more of a like an external in, meaning like I'm letting my external life dictate my internal, and I switched it from being a more of an internal state and letting that reflect my external. It switched to more of this like I love myself, so I will do these things because these things make me feel good and I want to feel good. And like openly being like, no, I want to feel good. So I do these things and like I know that like I can't trust myself. So having those disciplined little routines, even if they're simple, like Ko said, has made a shift for me. That's my short answer of that.
yeah,
Found it?
found it here. Routine done for long enough and done sincerely enough becomes more than routine. It becomes ritual. It becomes sanctified and holy.
What did I
And
say?
so
Sorry.
that is to say, yeah, absolutely. That is to say that we I like to think that we can do some of our best work, and not to say that this is how we should go about everything, but we can do some of our best work, and it is a gift when we turn off our thoughts and we open our hearts and we open up our bodies. And I think when you get into routine and you exercise it and it just turns into something they have to do and it becomes like Ryan Holiday says, sanctified and holy, it's something that you can something that I think you can truly um, find a lot of spontaneity in, and you can find a lot of excitement in, and it doesn't have to be something that is keeping you stuck in a loop.
Mm.
May I ask what your definition of holy is?
Oh, you still going?
Probably just as a brand. That's it. Yeah, no, that was a quick one, so
Okay, all
I
right.
just did that, and that's the end of that. I got to get back.
You gotta go.
You can get
I think with
to
that being said, real quick, life matches or chat, like please thank you or send some thanks to Ko for being here. He made time to be here, show this and spread his wisdom. Like this guy is so fucking dope. If you guys need his channels or whatever, you wanna say where they can find you?
find me on YouTube or Instagram at Kodekai44.
Kodekai 44. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Um, you're
Thank you
always
so much for
welcome
having
with
me. This was
ex
fantastic.
yeah, extremely open arms for you, man, like always.
It's such a grand community that you have here, and like I think it
Only gonna
speaks
grow.
to your character that so many people are listening, and so many people have admittedly learned so much, not just from you, but from each other, to have this
Mm.
place where it is an echo chamber where we echo just what we all know we want to hear.
Mhm.
But there's challenge, there's offense, there's acceptance, and there is, most importantly, growth.
It's growth, yeah. I think also too, what one place that I want to send thanks to is everybody who is here in this community, whether you are just listening, whether you are some of the life matches, whether you spoke, whether you had a question. If you are here, if there's one thing that I want to spread to you guys, it's just that if we want to make the world a better place, if we want to make the new earth a real frequency, it starts with you. It starts with you being able to spread that joy, to find that kindness within yourself, to find that forgiveness, and to find that challenge within yourself and to other people. You don't know what you cannot doubt your joy. You cannot doubt yourself. You cannot doubt the power and impact that you have. And I want every single one of you guys to know that if you can find that light within yourself and it spreads to just one person, you have absolutely no fucking clue what that impact can be. So everybody here today, like a big fucking like round of applause to like everyone. And I love all you guys like so fucking much. And I hope you guys are all doing amazing. Thank you, Ko. Thank you,
All
Life
right.
Maxes, and thank you, chat, for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. I will depart now. And yeah, again, fantastic community. There's so much humility here. There's so much growth, and there's importantly so much joy. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
the opportunity, and thank you for allowing me to speak. Everything that I've said, I don't know the answer. Take it or leave it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was nice meeting you, man.
It was nice meeting you guys.
Man. Y'all see why I invited that guy, bro? He's so fucking dope, man. Like, and oh my god, y'all want to know? Y'all want to know how old he is? That
Yeah,
motherfucker,
well,
bro.
Didn't
What's
you
up?
say he's
19.
21?
is he
No,
younger
he's
than me?
Oh, I don't even know.
he's 18 going into 19.
That's fucking
God.
crazy.
Holy shit.
Uh-huh.
Nigga, that's
God
Yeah.
fucking
damn.
crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
God damn.
That's
Yo, I know, right? Yeah, that was fucking dope. And I guess this is our first time doing a Lifemaxxing call with like a one, doing it public, two, doing it like with a group with a guest speaker. That was dope. I definitely want to do that again. How do y'all feel about that?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we should do
So
it
Yeah.
again.
nonchalant about it.
Yeah, do it again.
Just
Do
like,
it over again.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
chill.
it was cool, I guess. You know,
Oh,
I
I'm
mean, that's
sorry.
mine. No, no, no. I'm
Sorry.
playing. I'm playing. I'm just playing.
That was so dope.
Dude, we need to do this more. You should,
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
have done this with Yuna. That would have been a crazy one.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, say less then. I'll bring you into one of these then.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna be
Hell
really
yeah.
scared.
You
So
know.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I kind of want to touch on that I thought was super important when he was bringing up joy. If y'all just want to hear my fucking little yap session, I talked about this in the podcast thing, but so remember how I told y'all before that like the entire system is almost set up to place you in fear and like because when you're in that fear state, right? Like as Jesus like you're talking about, you get in these external environments where it's hard to be internally good with yourself. Like it is in these moments where society is set up to be in fear and like if you live in America like so much fucking shit happening that it's this is the most important time that you're able to that you should go within and cultivate joy within yourself, whether that is like creating art, whether that is just fucking dancing, whether that is exploring yourself and in fashion or just being your most like authentic self in whatever ways that we can start to cultivate joy, like that is the way how we actually build the new earth. For you, it's photography. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. That's dope. Um, yeah, I think like so. It's been a while since I've done one of these public calls, and I just want to like extend this out and just like spread this message again to the people who are here. Um, so if y'all remember the whole idea from you singing, hell yeah, let's go, man. For me, the whole idea of the project of New Earth is to really build and establish this frequency where we can help each other, where we can express ourselves like out of love and we can be connected as individuals. Because in this time where there is so much division and there's so much like separation and there's so much like you're this, I'm that, or like you're here, I'm here, like we kind of forget about the fact that we're all just humans just living here for the first time, you know. And so with that being said, like just to spread this obviously again to life maxers and to the people who are in chat, like find that forgiveness, find that light for yourself, and please do not doubt it because you are so much stronger than you think. But yeah, that's before we wrap this up, life maxers, I want to ask y'all personally, do you guys want to stay on call still? Do you guys have specific things that you want to talk about, or like do you guys want to like wrap up for this week? I'll leave that entirely up to
I'm
you. Like
personally down to talk more. I'm
I'm
way down to talk
yeah,
more.
I'm down to talk more. I got another call in like an hour and a half, so let's fucking go, bro. Like I'm down to chill here for a bit. Like let's do it.
I'm just sad that Ko couldn't say more. I wanted to ask more about like
I
what kind of books he's
know.
read. No, you know that one book, Deep Work? I forgot the author. That's such
It's
a
Cal
good
Newport.
fucking book.
Cal Newport.
That's
Yeah,
right. That is
yeah, it's
such a.
fucking dope.
I wanted to ask if he's like read like things like that.
You know,
Um,
he probably
there's
have.
another one by called there. You know Jim Collins, Good to Great.
Good to. No, I don't know this one.
That one is a great book. My brother's been putting me onto this to all these books that he's been reading over the past few years, and it is literally so like mind blowing. Because it turns out he's
Yeah.
been into this whole thing for so much longer than I have, and it's like
Mm.
I've never seen this side of you before. Like, where did he come from?
From your
You
brother.
know?
Oh, you got to go, Jesus. Hey, yo, much fucking love to you, man. Thank you for
Honestly,
sharing your questions.
bro, thank you for like having this call. This was so dope. This was so
Dude, I'm
dope. Thank
fucking
you.
of course, bro. That
So,
I'm so serious, bro. Like this is what it's about, man. Like your energy like really means a lot. Thank you for being here.
yeah, thank you, bro. I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Peace.
Love me. I think I'm gonna head out too.
All right, that's cool.
Sure.
Thank you
Have
for
a
being
good
here,
one,
Myra. So much
guys.
love.
Yeah, of
Bye,
Peace.
course.
Peace.
Myra. Have a
See.
nice
Bye.
Bye. Love
day.
you guys.
So much love, yo. What's
So sad.
good to great about?
um, it's about like this. It's this study from the '90s, showing how like companies like what's like they lasted the test of time, quote unquote. Like these companies have made such a lasting impact in our lives, and to this day they are still like giants, like behemoths.
Mm,
Like Apple, for example, Windows,
right.
Coca-Cola, Lay's, right? These companies have been around for so long, and this book kind of takes a little bit of a dive into like what's surrounding their success, like who who went into their ideas and went, okay, you know what, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna get this done, and by the time my life's work has gotten put out into the world, it's going to be so influential people will never forget about it. And it's like, how
Damn.
can you replicate that for yourself?
That's dope. That's really dope.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was
I, I,
fucking
I do,
insane. I was like, I
I
never
do
even
kind
thought
of,
about it that way.
I do kind of wonder, like, because this is totally just like a negative connotation that I have when it comes to like really huge fucking companies. That like a lot of them do tend to, or at least could be, like more exploitive of like human, labor and shit. And I'm not saying that like all of them do or anything, but like I tend to just be like, okay, like who am I supporting and like why? Do any of them like kind of touch on anything like that, or is it more so like grand vision, like mindset, or like yeah, what do you want to share anything from that book?
It was it was similar to that. I haven't finished it all the way through, but it was more so about like so Jim Collins, like he worked with this team that he had, and he like identified these, I guess, like quote unquote benchmarks that
Mm,
these companies that, whether or not they have had like huge like bursts of success, like but then faded away over time, or they're other companies that have been very
yeah.
low key but have still stayed around for a very long time. They kind of looked at the trends, they looked at decisions that have been made in the
Mm,
history of the company, and they set these benchmarks, and they're saying like, okay, have these behemoths of companies that we know so well kind of like reach these benchmarks. So it was more so
mm,
like seeing what kind of decisions they made, what impacts they made on their company's future, pretty much.
Do you have an example of one? I'm kind of curious to hear about that.
I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. I won't lie.
Oh no, you're totally good. You're totally good. I
This is
I
embarrassing.
no, you're good. I
My
might
bad,
I
bro.
might continue my breakfast in like 5 to 10 minutes. Um, because like I'm fucking starving this shit, man. Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about, or like anything else that's just been on your mind? I think it's been a while since you've been on here, man.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I've been working, putting
Grinding and shit,
myself
huh?
to work.
That's
Yeah,
what's up,
trying to
dude.
make that money.
Hey, that's what's up, man. Dude, I just finished. Oh my God, chat to the people who are here. I just finished a new fucking YouTube video. Oh my God, Victor, yo, come on, man. Hold on, give me a second, yo. Give me a second. Give me a second. So I just or not posted. I just finished a new YouTube video, and it's a 40-minute documentary, kind of on just like my content journey and what I've gone through and like how I got to where I am now. So I'll make an announcement for that sometime and I'll do a premiere so like we could watch it live on YouTube. Getting fed soon. Yeah, dude, I'm making some crazy new fucking content coming up, man. It's like a whole new era that's about to happen. I guess talk with chat and shit. Does it share tips on how to become one and stuff? Nah, it doesn't go into like that much. It's more so like the content creator journey. Like if we're looking about like going into oneness and spirituality and shit, like I'd be talking about that shit in the life max and stuff. But someone asked
They
like how
saying,
to deal with traumas. Oh, sorry, what's up?
yeah. Oh no, I was just about to point that out.
Someone was asking like can we talk about how to deal with trauma or not? That one, like, okay, I'm gonna be for real. Like, I can give you like as much of advice as I can, but I can only speak of it like from a relative experience of just what I've gone through, not like from your exact position. Because like trauma is like, like everyone goes through their own things, and like how something might affect one person might not affect the other person. And so if I could talk just like a little bit about that and share that for you. Um, damn. I think, hmm, there's so many different kind of ways that I could take it. Would you want to talk about like being able to heal from that trauma, or like
Hope in the moment, maybe.
sorry, say again?
I was saying like, would they want some advice on how to cope like in the moment they are dealing with
Yeah.
trauma? Like maybe some
hmm
fresh scab wounds have been picked.
I think one thing that I noticed when it comes to like trauma
Coping. Okay.
responses is like so you know how we have these moments like where we're scrolling on TikTok, or we're playing video games, or we're eating junk food, or watching pornography, or anything like that, right? Essentially, what I found is those quote unquote bad habits aren't really just like bad habits. They're a coping mechanism in the way that they give you safety. They make you feel safe. Um, Tend to make jokes about your trauma to cope. Like, yeah, in that kind of way, making it lighthearted can make you feel safe, you know? And so, with that being said, and this again, right? This applies to me. This is how I dealt with the things that I've gone through. I can't say for certain that this is the way that you should, and that you should probably seek professional help. Like, I'm not a professional like therapist or anything, but I think it's almost learning to be safe within your own body to, I don't know if like explore would be the right word, but it's to again, like I said, kind of prove to yourself that you are okay. Because when you have these emotional like triggers or anything like that, it is almost this feeling of unsafety, if that's the word, within your own body, and then that makes you run away and go do your other like quote unquote like bad habits, those escapism habits. And so again, I really need to reiterate, this is something that worked with me. It's being okay to feel whatever I need to feel. Because one of the things about emotions is that like when you start to run away from those emotions, and I'm not saying this is easy, it's easier said than done. This shit is hard as fuck, and it sucks, and like it's really, yeah, like it's really fucking hard. So I'm not gonna tell you that dealing with trauma is easy, but it is learning to almost not, like it's almost hard for me to explain this, because it's like because everyone does go through their own things, you know. I think one big thing that I see is like people put on this mentality of like almost shaming themselves or blaming themselves for their own trauma. I think if there's one thing that like I can say, because there's so many things I can say, right? And it's such a gray area that I can't just I can't just give you a one shoe fits all answer. I hope you know, like from the bottom of my heart, like from person to person, that whatever trauma it is that you did go through just wasn't your fault, nor that it does it have to define you. That every single day you are shifting into a new person and shifting into a new person moment to moment to moment. And in those moments, you get to choose who you want to be and make out of your life. And that whatever is happening, whatever has happened in your past, like, yeah, it just doesn't have to define you, doesn't have to be you. And over time, like with intention, as Ko was saying, right? Like, oh no, he was talking about that like in the fucking pregame call, but it was like that. Fuck, man, what the fuck did he say about intention, dude? Overall, it's just that, like, you have the choice to let that go, and like I hope that that does help in some sort of way. Um, trauma is a very like tricky thing that like I feel like I gotta tiptoe around because it's like I can't go crazy deep with that. Um, Not because I haven't experienced trauma, but because like it's different for everybody, and I wouldn't want to give somebody else a solution that I'm not comfortable with like prescribing. For me, what one of my traumas was like a fear of death, and like almost like, yeah, like that was something that like I really ran away from, and I felt like I was very alone because I wasn't able to talk about my family with that. And also growing up in like an Asian household, I felt like like I always had to be perfect. And so it was this combination of just like disassociation like from my life while also being extremely afraid of it. And what helped me like a fuck ton was like actually exploring that, being accepting like my traumas and accepting the fact that I was afraid to die or anything like that. And notice for me, instead of running away and using external factors to fill that void that any type of trauma has brought, I learned to acknowledge this experience. I learned to acknowledge this experience brought me pain, but I don't want to carry this pain throughout my life. I don't want to be defined by this trauma. Yeah. Um, that's a heavy fucking thing. But I am hungry as fuck and I gotta like start heading. But before I do go, I do have like parting words. Um, yeah, you guys, people who are here listening to this, I do want to show up here more often. So I think once a month we'll be doing these like Lifemaxxing calls where we get to do in public. You guys can probably like listen in and just see what kind of conversations are happening. And if you guys want to join the conversations and be part of that, as always, God, I have so much stuff fucking lined up. Obviously, yes, there's a Lifemaxxing program and stuff, and like you can join that. And there's like calls in here weekly. There's the weekly assignments, and there's like the hours of exclusive content, and all these calls and all that shit. But also too, like I do want to find a way to make being part of the new Earth more accessible, and so I'm working on creating some sort of doc that I can share with you guys, so that you guys can start spreading your own messages, and you guys can really be part of this movement, even without having to fucking pay for whatever program. Because my eventual goal is to make this knowledge so mainstream that like this is just a part of everyday life. And so if there is any way that I say that you guys can be a part of this movement and spread this, is that for this next month until this next call happens, if there is something that I will fucking prescribe to y'all, it's kindness. Be a kind person, whether that is to other people or to yourself. Forgive yourself more, forgive others more. Find that light and that joy within yourself. Spread that to other people, because like I said, and I will not stop fucking repeating this because it's so true. You guys are gonna get tired of me saying this, but like, stop fucking doubting your joy and what it does for the world. Because if you really, really, really want to make a change, it does start with you, and every single person here has the power to do that for one other person. And if not for another person, you can do it for yourself. So, with that being said, I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for listening in. Um, you guys are all so fucking dope. Um, and I cannot wait for this frequency to load in for the rest of the world. This frequency of love, this frequency of light, and being able to take care of each other. Because sooner or later it's gonna be a big fucking thing. And you guys are all going to see that happen. So, see you guys. Have an amazing rest of your night or morning, day, whatever y'all are doing. I'll see you guys next month. Probably first. Let's aim for like first. I forget what it is. First weekend of the month. I'll make an effort to see y'all. But yeah, this new Earth shit. This shit is lifetime. This isn't something that like is here for this month and then goes away and you forget about it. This frequency, you hold that with you always. And I want you to know that everybody here in some sort of way in our shared suffering of fucking existence, like none of us are alone. So I'll see you guys. Have an amazing rest of your whatever. Bye.